for you could feel my pain, because that's the pain I have waking up every day.
Hey! We're recording the podcast! Shut up!
Good morning to you, wherever you are, because it is a morning somewhere for November 18th, 2024. So, my name is Bernie Burns, sitting right over there. She did not phone it in this weekend. It's Ashley Burns. Say hi to Ashley, everybody.
I can always tell when you're feeling nice and rested because your shout is extra daring.
What does it daring mean exactly?
That means I know how easy it is for you to blow out your entire voice for the rest of the day. And sometimes we get one or two and then like push a wrong button on the opening or something and then have to redo it. And then you're dying over there.
I never claimed to be smart. I just claimed to be committed. How you doing, everybody? It is Monday. You're back on a Monday.
Welcome to Monday, everybody. You made it through the weekend.
Let's all do deep breaths.
By decision.
Wow. To recover from the nonstop adrenaline of the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight.
Now, you laugh because why, Bernie?
Well, because we kind of got exactly what we expected and not what we were trying to manifest, which was it was an exhibition fight. And the first couple rounds actually looked pretty good. Like Mike looked like he could come out and do some damage.
He looked like he had Jake Paul worried.
There's been, and at the time I was like, it's just a bad fight. But since then, there have been quite a few breakdowns. And of course, they do it in slow motion where like Jake Paul comes in and leaves himself wide open. And Mike Tyson just doesn't do anything. Like it's just, is that age? Is that the instincts aren't there?
Do you think that that's just the reflexes, the response time just isn't there when you're 58?
Yeah, and people keep intercutting the boxing match with footage of Mike Tyson training. Training is a little bit different than fighting. There was a famous fighter who once said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
And who was that fighter?
That was Mike Tyson.
Huh.
And so when you're in the ring, not that I've ever been in the ring, what do you think about that?
Would you fight 27-year-old you?
Would I fight 27-year-old me? That's a really good question. Yeah, I would fight 27. I'm much stronger now than I was at 27, I think.
I would not take 27-year-old me.
I think
she probably just came back from the club and she's going to be pulling earrings.
Oh, no, I just got done playing like Doom 2 all night or something like that. No, and I'm tired and mad and probably like had nothing but like 3 Whoppers for lunch. Yeah, I think I would fight 27-year-old me.
27-year-old me went for runs on a regular basis.
See, 27-year-old me wouldn't know the rights. Like, he doesn't know where parts have started to fail. I do. Like, I know where his weaknesses are. He doesn't know.
You hit all those points and you can make them fail earlier. Here's the thing. What happens if you beat the crap out of 27-year-old you come out of the fight and you get all of his consequences?
Right. Is it like Looper? Like, as I'm punching him, is my nose getting broken? Like, suddenly I have a crooked nose that healed 10 years ago? Yeah, I might do that. That's interesting. The classic question we were growing up was, would you get in the ring with Mike Tyson for $1 million?
No.
And that was basically like,
because you'd be spending $1 million on your casket.
Right. Or do you want brain damage for $1 million? That was the question at that point in time.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you could afford great specialized hospice care.
Yeah. You know, it's just, you know, I don't begrudge him. Supposedly, reportedly, allegedly, Mike Tyson made $20 million for that. And he was in phenomenal shape for, let's call him a 60-year-old dude.
Oh, look, we all saw his ass.
He looked great. What's the deal? Why are some people so fascinated by that?
Because it's one of those like things that's not supposed to happen. And so even though it in itself is not...
Are we still there?
Like no one cares about like the ass itself. It's the fact that we got to see the ass on TV because we weren't supposed to. So
I see.
That's when he's doing the interview. He like, you know, do the like, what is it, the chest hug thing where they like have the fist and they go hug but don't touch. And then turns around and walks away. And the cameraman just like didn't zoom in. So you got to see a thing that you're not supposed to see, which meant that he was doing an entire interview in a jockstrap, and it just recontextualizes the entire thing.
He obviously did not give a shit. I think at a certain level, like every time I see cameras in a locker room for any kind of sporting event, I'm like, why the locker? Just stay the fuck out of the locker room. You know, it is weird.
It is weird. Yes. But it's just one of those like secret sneaky peeks where the ass is not offensive, but you weren't supposed to see it, so it feels special. It's like a nice little Victorian ankle, you know what I mean?
Right. Let's set that aside too. It's like we know we're not going to do that with female athletes. We're not bringing cameras into the goddamn locker room, right?
No.
We know we're not going to do that. By the way, the female fighters that were in the undercard that was an amazing fight.
Yeah, so
That
there
a
was
great fight.
so there's at least something. But you know who really won in this fight besides Jake Paul was Netflix.
Jake, by the way, let's just say it. Jake Paul won the fight, but he won. Like he has proven that guy can draw a massive audience, and everybody was talking about it. And it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter what the fight's like. He'll have another one lined up until they fail spectacularly, which I'm guessing by your face, this one did not.
It did not. Well, there were a lot of technical glitches, but when I tell you how many people watched this, the technical glitches will seem understandable. Bernie, the viewership for this fight peaked at 65 million people.
Wow.
65 million households, right? So that puts it
right. Screens logged in.
right. So that puts it at the level of the 2022 FIFA World Cup final, or the big one, the wedding of Prince William and Kate Middleton.
That was a big one? Really?
Yeah, apparently. But that's the level that it was at. So 65 million people watching this all at once. There were some streaming glitches and hangups and things like that. But for 65 million, I don't think, well, it shouldn't happen, right? I don't think that Netflix is one of those companies you'd be like, oh, but that's a lot of bandwidth. How could this little guy handle it, right? It's Netflix. They're signing up for these big events. They should have a handle on it. But that's
harder than it
still,
seems.
That's still an absolutely mind-boggling number of people.
I mean, for some reason, we were able to do it 50 years ago, right? Everyone could tune in via cable or via aerial, and it was fine. Now it's almost impossible.
Yeah, but Bernie, now we're using a series of tubes.
Yes, then the tubes get clogged.
It's not a dump truck, Bernie. Now it's a series of tubes.
Is it coaxial cable from cable television? Is that not a tube? What is that?
Yeah, I guess.
That's something
Technically,
different?
it's a tube, but I think in early internet parlance, it's a dump truck.
It's an analog tube. It's not a digital tube. So here's what I'm hearing. Here's the secret recipe for the biggest event in streaming history. Jake Paul
fights Santa.
Princess Kate. In a FIFA stadium. That's what I'm hearing.
Who's the biggest
Would you
soccer
watch
player?
it? Would you watch
I would
it?
totally watch it. Who's the biggest FIFA player in the world?
Oh boy, that is. I don't even know if I want to answer that question. I don't want to be on anybody's list, but I would say Messi is.
Okay, is he the one who had to make apologies after skipping a match in China?
Yes.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set up a fight between Jake Paul and Lionel Messi, and we're going to do it in the church where Prince William and Kate Middleton got married. So it's going to be a fight in Westminster Abbey, all right?
It'll be when they finish reconstructing Notre Dame from the fire. I want to look up really quickly and see how many Instagram followers Lionel Messi has. What would you guess?
It's more than many countries, I think. Last time we looked him up, we were absolutely staggered by the number. But while you're looking that up, Netflix has a chance for a do-over.
504 million followers. We've talked about that before, but that's incredible. 500 million followers on Instagram.
Absolutely mental. But Netflix has a chance for a do-over. They have a couple more of these live streaming events coming up, and they are going to be important. So hopefully, what this really was a beta test, and they'll get the wrinkles all ironed out, because they do have a Christmas game day NFL game, and Beyonce is going to be performing at it. So we're going to get everyone tuning in. Santa's going to be watching this thing, okay?
Although I have to say, it's like I don't want to insult the noble art of boxing and its rich history, nor the people who follow it, but I think this is just the state of the sport these days. This is what you're going to get.
I do feel like MMA has come in, and because it's a much bloodier sort of blood sport, it's got that sort of like, it's got the sizzle, it's got the pizzazz. People like having a lot of these different sort of like fighting disciplines all beating the crap out of each other with no sort of gloves, none of this like, oh, you can't do anything below the belt. None of these gentlemanly rules, okay? We're talking batshit crazy.
Do you know when the UFC first started, and it was just like, it was crazy because I think in the first couple tournaments they had, which were all on VHS cassette or pay-per-view, it was like a tournament, like a battle royale kind of a thing. Not quite a battle royale.
Wait,
but
as in you mean they just like put a bunch of people in a ring together?
So not like a battle royale. Yeah, they had to like grab a chair or barbed wire bat or something. No, but they would have like
somewhere around Westminster Abbey.
It was a tournament, like a bracket. And so the winner of that UFC event.
Wait, you mean all in one event?
They fought 3 times in one night.
Oh my God.
It was insane. Like guys we talked about, like Ken Shamrock and Dan the Beast Severin, I think was that. This goes way back. This is memories from the 90s. Yeah, but they would fight like 3 fights in a row, back to back. And so somebody like there was this is where Brazilian jiu-jitsu really, I feel like, came a major part of the culture. And there was this guy named Hoist Gracie, and he had like this thing where he would watch it. And it seemed like the most boring fight of all time because he would just grapple with people on the ground. He'd get them in the guard. And I didn't know what that was before UFC. And it was just like, everyone's like, oh, this is amazing. But that would be like a 30-minute fight. Whereas somebody who knocks somebody out, they would fight for 2 minutes, right?
Right.
So by the end of the night, some guys have fought for 90 minutes straight, and other guys have fought for like 10 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
Which is what we saw in the Tyson fight if you watched it. By the end of that thing, Tyson was just like,
Gassed.
yeah, completely gassed. Like,
Yeah.
because he's 60, you know, that also weighed into it a little bit, I think. Anyway, enough about the fight that nobody really was happy with. Everyone was upset. I knew people who were there, and they said the whole stadium was like genuinely mad.
I understandably.
Everybody
if
was
you
mad.
feel like you're going for a fight and what you get is a dance, it's not exciting to watch. It's not exciting to be there. So I do understand.
I saw a Reddit post that said there were seats at the front row, which had TV screens too. So you wouldn't miss like the broadcast coverage, that they were $2 million a seat.
Whoa. All right.
That's
All right.
insane to me.
All right. Good job with that one, Moneybags
Yeah.
Netflix. You did great. But speaking of other fights, Bernie,
Should have bought Ethereum. Sorry, go ahead.
this is the next step up from UFC. I really think it's going to make a major comeback in popularity, and that is literal gladiatorial blood sports. Because Gladiator 2 has hit theaters internationally. So it's not out in the US and it's not out in China, but it has come out internationally.
A lot of China today.
I know.
China.
So it's hit the international market, and signs are good that it's going to have a huge box office run. So with this opening weekend internationally, it did. They're looking at $80 to $90 million.
Oh wow! So
Now,
Red
obviously-
One, the one we were talking about before, I think it did like 35 million.
Yeah,
on their
which is
$250
I
million
want to
budget?
say that's in range of expectation. I think they were expecting somewhere between 30 and 40 million.
Jake Paul should fight Santa. I see where you're going with this because Netflix. Nah, yeah, look at that. That was a slow burn joke.
Bringing it all back.
What? You had that one like set up for like 5 minutes later. Wow, that's good. That was good. That was good. Yeah. Because that's Netflix, right? That made that?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the Netflix film that they've got in theaters now. So that one, I think that's within the sort of like expectation of where they thought that one would perform. Obviously, they would like to get as much money out of it as they can, but I assume we'll also see it hit streaming by Christmas, so everyone can either watch it again or watch it at home on Netflix, et cetera, et cetera. But Gladiator 2 so far doing great internationally in theaters, so I suspect we'll see a lot more about it once it hits the U.S. domestic this weekend. I'm kind of excited to see where it goes because I haven't followed Gladiator 2 closely. I know I'm going to see it, so it's one of those ones that I'm not paying attention to the marketing for it because I just know I'll see it.
I heard Denzel was upset because he had a kiss with a dude and they cut it. He said they weren't ready for that. I think I was ready for that.
You ready for the dude
I feel
kisses?
cheated. That's like they probably just saved it for the deleted scenes.
Here's the question.
People pay for that.
Would you kiss Denzel?
Would I absolutely? Would I
kiss
kiss
Denzel.
Denzel Washington?
Hell yeah.
I would kiss Mr. Washington. Absolutely.
No one's that straight.
What would be the? Am I doing it like what? I'm in a movie, right? Or am I in
Yeah.
a locker room with Mike Tyson nearby, like walking around in his jockstrap?
He's just finished an interview and here he comes.
Because to me, either way, I'm good.
Are you excited about Gladiator 2?
It's not on my radar at all. In fact, we talked about it recently, and I had to double check myself because I thought it had already come out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, but will you go see it?
I just
now
remember-
that you know that it's out and you can go see it, and not already out, but you hadn't seen it, will you go see it?
Nope, it's not on my radar. I'm actually more interested in Red One, and I'm very, 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 very much interested in watching the Demi Moore movie, The Substance. And that is one of those movies. Sometimes a movie falls in a crevice where it's like, can you just tell me how to watch your movie? Like, I want to go to the website and watch it. It's on these like streaming services that pop up for about 5 minutes, and then they have an exclusive deal. Like, I think that's the state of that, at least where we live right now. And I just want to watch the movie. Just take my money. Take my money. I want to
Just
watch your
let
movie.
me watch you.
Yeah. So I want to watch The Substance because
All
that
right.
looked really cool to
Well,
me.
tell you what, assuming it's in theaters, I don't actually know. Here's what we'll do. We'll go on a date together. We'll get
I don't think that's a date movie,
No,
but
no,
okay.
no. We're gonna get to the movie theater. We're gonna get 2 popcorns, 2 drinks, etc. And then I'm gonna go into the Gladiator theater, and you're gonna go into the Substance theater, and we'll meet up afterwards to tell each other about our movies.
look who's trying to save all the Denzel for herself. I see that. You set me up again. It's like a day of getting set up by Ashley. No, I just really want to see that movie because I thought it was an interesting concept.
I don't know anything about it except it sounds scary, and I hear the words body horror in the same sentence as the name of that movie. And so I'm like, well, that all sounds terrible to me.
I think body horror is a kind of professional, critical way to say it's gross.
Yeah,
Right? There's no gross genre.
Just the term body horror
Right.
makes me think that terrible things physically happen to people, right? Like
Yes.
it's like weird like physical experiments or like weird stuff coming out of people or weird stuff going into people or like terrible things happening to your body.
Right.
I don't know. I don't want that.
Right.
Although technically I guess that means Alien is also body horror.
I mean, some of it probably is.
Maybe I'm
actually.
wrong. Maybe it means something totally different, but that's what I take away from it as a totally on the outside layman.
It's a genre that's also a trigger warning, I think. That's what it is. So I think body
it's
horror is
multitasking. I like
think
it.
it's just there's some gross stuff in it. Like Cronenberg would have been like heavy into body horror stuff, but we just didn't call it body horror. When was the first time you remember hearing the term body horror?
I feel like that's a fairly new term. In the last 2 years, maybe?
It's one of those things like online where people say, oh, well, this is in the body horror genre. It's like, you're like, why are you saying that like that's a thing? Like, you know that's a new thing. I know that's a new thing. You're saying it with such confidence. Like when people use acronyms all the time, when it's something that's important in their life and they just use an acronym for it, I go, no. That's not an acronym level.
No, back up. What?
Yeah. You don't get to like just whip that out and then pretend like everyone knows what you're talking about. Jackass. That's unfair.
All right, well, speaking of some other current events, Bernie, there's a story that we haven't really discussed. Well, we've really, I feel like, let everyone down on this one, but there are some updates.
A fake bear attacked Mike Tyson.
No.
And somehow they all made $45 million.
But it does involve macaques.
Oh, I know what please tell me you have the headline that made me laugh so hard when I read this.
I do. I'm going to read you the headline. Only 8 monkeys remain free after more than a week outside a South Carolina compound.
So I love this because this story has been going on for a while, but I do love the idea of a press conference where someone comes out and says, great news, everybody. Only 8 of the monkeys are still on the loose. And you're like, what? What do you mean only what?
Well,
How many monkeys?
Remember the absolute havoc one macaque wreaked by escaping just near us in Scotland.
Right.
And we were following that.
We nearly became,
when is the macaque coming home?
We were almost a body horror country for like 3 weeks. So there's 8 of these things on the loose?
Yes. So initially 43 of them escaped. This was earlier in November after an employee at what locals call the monkey farm didn't fully lock their enclosure. So 43 of these macaques escaped. However, most of them have been lured back with peanut butter jelly sandwiches.
Dude, I feel ya. That would work on me too. No shame in the peanut butter and jelly game, macaques.
So, but here's the thing is 8 of them have not come back. So my suggestion to the monkey farm is that they perhaps switch up what kind of sandwiches they're offering. Maybe, Bernie, what's your suggestion? Some tuna melts would go a long way.
No, I got a better solution. You airdrop in Jake Paul, looking for a new opponent. You just wander around the forest.
This is his new Battle Royale boxing reality show.
8 monkeys. I would like to watch Jake Paul fight 8 monkeys. I would watch that. I think I would tune in for that. You know, there was a story where, back in the heyday of Mike Tyson, I have so many Mike Tyson clips that we didn't play that I wish.
Just go ahead and throw one on. Just treat yourself.
Well, we don't want to talk about too much about Mike Tyson, but there was one point where apparently he tried to bribe a zookeeper to let him into the enclosure for a silverback gorilla so he could fight it. The zookeeper said in what was defusing one of the greatest moments in history, he just said no.
Did the zookeeper say, you don't have to bribe me, I'll do that for free?
Can you imagine that? $10,000? $10,000. Can you imagine? Like, it's not even worth it. Like, I would go to jail for letting you get killed by a silverback gorilla.
Right, except here's the problem, Bernie, is it sounds like that was probably in the age before you could just whip out a smartphone and film the whole thing.
Right. Also, how far away are we from that? Like, at this point, like, everything's getting so silly. Is there going to be, like, I mean, we have, like, man versus, like, we have the fake versions on, like, the Discovery Channel and History Channel.
Look, we've already pitched Netflix's next big hit.
Yeah.
We know Jake Paul versus the Macaques it's gonna do way more than 65 million.
Well, you don't look past Princess Kate. He's got to get through that fight first, and then he can concentrate on the team of Macaques. I'd love to promote that. Like Jake Paul takes 8 macaques. Back to these jokes again. I love it. So what are they going to do? They're going to switch it up and have something besides PBJs, you know?
I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe just like increase the quality of the sandwiches. Maybe they're going to have to switch to organic peanut butter.
No. Yeah, they're holding out. They're negotiating now. Hold out for the steak dinner and like a gift card to Chili's or something. That's what I would do if I was those macaques. That's my advice.
They're just gonna sprinkle them around and hopefully get the macaques in a trap.
Yeah. So in financial news, wrap it up. Bitcoin and crypto continues to hover at very high levels. Bitcoin it peaked at about 93, but it seems to be hovering in the low 90s, back and forth. Flirting with the high 80s, low 90s. So it's been crazy. And there was a little bit of a dip in the stock market after what they call the hangover of the election from a couple of weeks ago. And then there was a rally, but that's all seemed to have leveled out as well.
All right, so we're sort of like in a sort of like holding period?
Yeah,
Stasis?
We'll see what happens today because there was big political news that Biden has now, or the U.S. government has approved Ukraine to use U.S. missiles to do long distance strikes into Russia. So who knows what the hell that could mean?
They want to wrap this up in time for the NFL Christmas Day special.
Yeah,
for Netflix.
yeah. When you're in a war with Russia in the winter, wrap it up, right? That's historically that's a great strategy. Just accelerate things. Works.
Look, you say that we can't fight Russia in the winter. I feel like Ukraine can fight Russia in the winter. I feel like we're not built for that. Ukraine's built for that.
I just don't think they're speeding stuff up. Like you don't wrap stuff up in those land wars with Russia.
Well,
in the middle of winter.
Maybe if you get a bunch of missiles now, you can do that.
Basically bunker down and hope you survive it. But we'll see what happens. It's a really tense time with that, and that could have huge repercussions all across the globe.
Airdrop Jake Paul in.
Airdrop Jake Paul in. 8 macaques. Go off they go.
It's gonna be him coming down in a parachute, followed by 8 macaques with machine guns.
But let me just say too, it's like we make fun of Jake Paul and everything. He got Mike Tyson a fight in Arlington Stadium. Like Mike Tyson has been super gracious about it. He got him $20 million at a point in his career that no boxers, there's all these photos of Mike Tyson in the 80s with tigers and sitting on the hoods of extraordinarily expensive luxury cars. And it's a classic story of like, oh, right, where did all that money go? But now it's like in his retirement, he somehow got a $20 million payday. So I have some gratitude for Jake Paul for being able to pull that off.
Well, you're a much bigger person than I am because I just want him to. I want to see him fight princesses and macaques.
There we go. Just stay tuned, everybody. All right, who's next on the Jake Paul's itinerary to fight?
Well, unfortunately for Hunter Clark and Nick Mammon, our sponsors for this episode, you guys are up next.
Start working out. Do your neck bridges.
But seriously, a big thank you to Hunter Clark and Nick Mammon for sponsoring this episode of our show at patreon.com/morningsomewhere.
All right, well, that does it for us today, November 18th, 2024. We will be back to talk to you tomorrow. We hope you will be here as well.
Bye, everybody.